have found the Genesis frequency. This is Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina welcoming you in to another episode of a show that focuses on your whole life prosperity and success. Whole life prosperity and success by cooperating with the universal laws that are available to each and every one of us. This is Quantum Leap Goal Achievement, radical personal transformation, whole life prosperity and success. Now, stay tuned for another exciting episode that'll move the needle in your life from where you are now to where you want to be.
And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it may be, wherever you are in the world when you hit that play button. So glad you did. Of course, you have found the Genesis Frequency podcast with me, Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina, coming at you with another episode here, taking a dive right into our personal, professional, and leadership development. That's what this show is all about: personal, professional, and leadership development, helping to move you from where you are to where you want to be, getting you going in that direction anyway, and all those things that contribute to that, whatever it may be, from years and years of study and what I have taken and applied to my own life. Tremendous value here. I hope you realize that. This is coming to you at no charge. And I always bring that up because, well, most of this really should be made into a program and sold. And I may do that someday. But for right now, it's coming to you at no charge. And I have found this to be true, that what most people, or most people, I should say, what they get at no cost to them, no dollar cost, they place little or no value upon. So don't let that be you. There's tremendous value here. I just haven't I haven't boxed it up and put a shiny cover on it and sold it at this point yet. Although I do have a lot of things that I do that with, but this is just coming at you too, because I love talking about it. I love personal and professional and leadership development. It's what I do. It's what my life is all about. And I've loved it ever since I picked up my first book that talked about the power of our subconscious mind and how we can hold some dominant thoughts and they tend to externalize in our experience. And ever since then, I was hooked and I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't do things right. I figured it out through the becoming a graduate of the School of Hard Knocks. And once I really took it seriously, once I discovered my power, which I talked about in a recent episode, power comes from where? Right? The choice, realizing, becoming aware that we have a choice, making a decision, setting our intention, and then making a commitment to that intention. And so once I did that, everything started to shift. And here in the United States, over the past few days, we've celebrated our Independence Day and we had our holiday weekend and all that, and didn't do a whole lot, but just relaxed and did a lot of reflection. A lot of things were taking place from, that came up from my past, and it just, that I observed. And it just helped me to realize how far I've really come. And sometimes we take that for granted. We just take for granted the good that is in our lives. When we start making this transformation in consciousness, when we start thinking in the right way, when we start thinking and living and being and doing from the inside out, not living life as a series of reactions to what's going on in the world around us, things do change. And that's what I spent some time doing this weekend. And that's not what this particular episode's all about, but it was quite profound. And I really had to, push back a little bit and take some time around my meditation, my quiet time, and say, wow, I tell everybody else to not take their good for granted, their wins for granted, and there's things that that I'm missing, and I think we all miss from time to time when we are on this path, this positive path for living intentionally, this positive path for living from the inside out rather than from the outside in. Wins start to show up, and many of them we might, from our limited human perspective, label them as little or insignificant. Maybe we don't notice them, but we don't realize how they're cumulative and they're building and we are becoming in consciousness. And that's what I want to go to a little bit today about moving in. The last episode, we talked about belief in yourself, belief in what's possible for you in your life, belief in your infinite potential, belief in all the possibilities that are available to you, belief that you can indeed experience the desires of your heart and once and for all satisfy any longing and discontent you may be feeling. I also suggested if you don't believe that, you can borrow somebody else's belief. You can borrow my belief in you because I know we all have access to this infinite potential. And the very desires of your heart are that thing itself in its infancy, in its beginning stages, waiting, wanting, desiring to be birthed in you, through you. You couldn't even have the desire unless it was possible for you to experience it in your life. So know this. I mean, just know this. And if you don't have that firm, solid belief, start asking some questions. Start doing that inner work. Say, why not? Why do I not have this? Where is that belief sitting? Where is it coming from that tells me that I can't? Because if you would do some deep inner discovery work like that, I think you would find that you even believe that it's possible for someone else, but not for you. And we spent some time talking about that in the last episode, so we're not going to rehash that whole thing. But we went to the episode before that and we talked about using our power of imagination and building everything out, imagination as an achievement power tool. And prior to that, we talked about what I just shared and recap power that you possess and where it comes from, choices and decisions and intention and commitment. And even before that, we were talking about controlling your thoughts and desirable results. So, this whole show for a long time, 5 years, I've talked about the the formula, the certain way that we approach achievement and accomplishment in our lives. And remember, this is all applicable to you in your personal life and in your professional life and developing yourself as a leader. Whether you have a whole bunch of people that you are responsible for in your professional work or life, or whether you're just leading your own life, leading yourself from one success to another. All this applies because we're wired the same way. We have different personalities and we have different levels of experiences when it comes to emotional states. But we can manage those in a different way. And we can manage those in a way that is in cooperation with just universal laws. That's the wiring I'm talking about. We're wired the same way because law is no plays no favorites. Law isn't personal. Universal law is not personal. How it responds and reacts, or it just is. And we're learning here. When I speak of this certain way, what I'm really talking about is how we cooperate properly, efficiently, and effectively with the laws of the universe, with the laws of cause and effect. So, as I've covered over and over again, the power of our imagination, the power of intention, the power of our commitment, the choices that we are faced with, and the choices that are available to us, the decisions we're able to make when we grow this awareness, which is really what we're doing when we're aware of all these things and all these tools. We do make those quantum leaps in our lives. We do make those quantum leaps. We jump over a lot of obstacles that we would have to perhaps encounter and learn, like through that school of hard knocks that I just referred to. So it's really important to take this, and as I've been saying more and more of, to apply it in your life and take action on it. Application and action are so important. And so for today, what I want to talk about a little bit is moving in, just moving into the state. What state? Well, what it is that you want to experience in your life, whatever the big dream goal is for your company, for yourself as an individual, you have to go beyond just your imagination and visualizing it. I always tell you, when you visualize, the end result, how you want everything to be, you you're not just looking at it on the screen of your mind, on the canvas of your mind where you created it. Sure, you created it first there. You saw it out in all its detail and you filled it in with all the specifics, and you're to see yourself and feel yourself in it, not looking at it like it's a TV show or a movie. And sometimes this is really difficult for people because we are so conditioned to watch movies on the big screen, to scroll TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and whatever else is out there and YouTube, and look at things as an observer. But what we have to do is we have to place ourselves in that vision. We have to feel the experiences as real as we're doing our visualization work. So that's what this episode is all about, is moving into it. I've shared in the previous episodes where our power comes from, how we use the imagination to build out this vision and dream, and there's plenty of them. Go to the website, thegenesisfrequency.com, and I've put keywords from the beginning when I started doing this almost 6 years ago. There's keywords in every episode, so you can just search on imagination, and all the episodes that talk about imagination or visualization or visioning or envision, visualizing, all that. You can just type it in and episodes will come up around that topic. Glad I mentioned that. I don't think I have before. Maybe I did. But it's a great tool to use if you are working on a specific aspect of yourself, because just to scroll through almost 6 years of episodes, over 300 episodes, it might be difficult to find exactly what you're looking for. So use that keyword search function on the website. Again, thegenesisfrequency.com. But moving into it, we're moving into the design. We designed it using the power of our imagination, and we have to move into it energetically. We have to move into it emotionally. We have to move into it in spirit and in faith, and with that inner strength, saying, I am, we made the commitment, right? So I am moving in. And what just came up for me is, like, when we maybe pick a new place to live, and whether it's an apartment or a house or whatever, we move. We don't just pick it out, right? We don't say, hey, that's it. We move into it. We live in it and from it. And it's the same thing here. The design that you created, I've encouraged you to visualize it several times during the day. You see it in your morning, your quiet time, when you're fresh and you're right on and you're energetically, yeah, I can do this. But you still have it at some point in the future. You have to move into it right now as your present reality. And you have to do this again in the evening before you fall off to sleep at night. You're moving into the dream, whatever it is, whether it's for your company, whether you are a C suite executive or part of the leadership or executive team, whether you are a frontline employee, it doesn't matter. You have to establish some professional goals for yourself, and they should be tied in with your personal goals. Each one of them should be moving you ahead, should be evolving you and growing you. So you're moving into it. You're moving into the design. You've already went through the power that I talked about, and you've apprehended that. You said, yeah, I do have this power because I realize now I do have choices. I've thrown my hands up in the air so many times in my life and said, I don't have a choice. And yes, you do. So now you realize that. Then you make a decision. Then you set the intention and you commit to that intention. So there is still work to do. And that is action, application, and action, chunking down what it is you want, what the end picture looks like, chunking it down to daily actionable steps, moving it from, if it's a 12-month goal, what do I have to do on a quarterly basis? Then what do I have to do on a monthly basis? And then breaking that down to what do I do on a weekly basis? Then what do I do on a daily basis? Then what do I do in the morning? And then what do I do in the afternoon? Just breaking it all down. So there's application and action, but you have to maintain the control over the thought process, right? Because that can take us, just because we've identified beliefs that are not serving us well and we're replacing them with beliefs of infinite potential and infinite possibilities for our lives. And yes, I can. And yes, I believe in me. Well, we still have to guard our thoughts. We still have to be vigilant. And one of the ways that we get the subconscious mind to come along with all of this is moving into it. Again, we move into the design, we saturate our consciousness with our objective being real right now. We're not using words like someday, one day, in the future, I am going to, or I will be. None of those words should be part of our language anymore. Everything should be present tense, and our feeling and emotional state right here, right now, should be present tense in the dream fulfilled, in the objective achieved. So that's what I'm talking about when I talk about moving into the design, moving into all of it, saturating your consciousness with the realization of your objective, realizing that your potential is infinite, moving into the belief, I got this now. Because as soon as you move into the belief that you got this now, that it is a done deal, you just have to chunk it down, plan your work and work your plan, and it is as good as done for you right now. So you have to believe into it. You have to lean into all of this and just move in. Just pack your bags and move in. When you're doing that, you're also working with the first order. Order is actually the first one of the very, very, they say that Bob Proctor always said, order is heaven's first law. So that's what I'm trying to spit out here, stumbling a little bit. But, cause and effect is one of the primary laws, one of the primary laws that precede the law of attraction. But just noticing that order is another law. Everything needs to be in order. But that's what we're doing here. We're sorting out the beliefs that don't serve us. We're believing in ourselves now. We're doing it the right way. We're apprehending our power. We know that there's an order. We have to observe and be aware that we have a choice. We have to make a choice, which we call decision. We have to set the intention and make a commitment to that intention. So we're moving in. We're moving into our potential. We're moving into our dream. We're moving into our desire. We are becoming aware of the infinite possibilities that are available to us. We're moving into that belief. We're moving into faith, really. We're moving into faith of that infinite potential that we all are. We're moving really into life. And Perhaps up until now, you've been playing small. This is your invitation to play big, to move into that infinite aspect of yourself, to move into life with an uppercase L, having that reverence for all that life is, identifying yourself with your own abundance, with the abundant nature that is your very essence, that all things are available to you, that you can be, do, and have it all. This is the this is really the constant outpouring of life, larger life, life that is representative of all, life that is all that is, supporting you. And we can call that goodness and all that that's available to you. So you want to move into that. You want to move into the joy of that hey, I am one of life. I am flowing from life itself. I am one with life. Again, thinking uppercase L, as grand as you can possibly picture that or imagine that. And you are you're putting yourself in the flow when you do it this way, when you move in. So I encourage you, move in, move in, move in. And I've just leaned over to check the time on this episode. I can't believe it. I love talking about personal, professional, and leadership development. We're out of time for today. So I encourage you, let's really get specific. Let's get specific with you and what's going on in your life. Reach out. Schedule an appointment with me. Successappointment.com gets you my calendar and your time zone. It's not a sales page, it's just a calendar. And book some time to let's just have a conversation. We can talk about, hey, what's keeping you stuck? We can talk about, hey, how come you get so far and then you don't seem to get further? We can identify some of those beliefs that are non supportive, some of those just habits that are holding you back, some of those paradigms, and we can set you out on a plan. I do this for my listeners. There's no charge for this call. So I encourage you to reach out. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how I can help you, how I can provide you with a solution to whatever you may be facing in your life, personally or professionally. Let's talk about what's going on at work. Let's talk about your company. I would love to have the opportunity to do a proposal for your company. Introduce me to those that make decisions around leadership development and training, around personal and professional development. Maybe you're the decision maker. Let's have a conversation about how we can take these thoughts in an organized, orderly, sequential manner and bring them to your organization. This is not about training. This is about developing your people and empowering your people to live and think this way from the inside out rather than from the outside in, to think about and from the solution rather than immersing themselves in the problem, immersing themselves in results that you don't want and that they don't want. And that's where most people think from, not from what's possible, not from potential. And we can talk about all of that. I encourage you to reach out. And also, don't forget, if you are looking to immerse yourself, maybe, hey, you've taken that golden buyout and you are ready to not sit in the rocking chair, but you want to do something and you love personal, professional, and leadership development too. I'm always looking for people that are interested in joining the team and moving into a lucrative income for themselves and all that's possible around that in this space. So would love to have a conversation with you about that as well. For now, that's going to do it. This is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmina, and you've been listening to the Genesis Frequency. I wish for you an infinitely spectacular day. God bless you.